On the news tonight, Governor Adeleke condemns forceful takeover of council secretariat in Osun, accuses IGP of engendering lawlessness in the state. Federal government sees collaboration with stakeholders to boost revenue generation. Senate summons heads of security agencies for allegation of sponsorship of Boko Haram by USAID. And from the foreign scene, AU approves fund for concessional lending to cash-strapped governments. Good evening and welcome to Major Reports. I am Kayode Adebayo. Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has accused the Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun of executing lawlessness and colluding with the opposition to enforce illegality in the state local government areas. Speaking during a meeting with British High Commissioner Johnny Baxter in his office, Governor Adeleke condemned the forceful takeover of local government secretariats allegedly backed by the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Mr. Adeboye Oyetola, warning that such action is a threat to democracy. Governor's Office correspondent Oluwatobiloba Odunuga has the details.
The unfolding political crisis in Osun State is not just a political governance issue, it is a test to Nigeria's democratic resilience and the integrity of its institutions. Receiving the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Johnny Baxter, Governor Ademola Adeleke strongly accused the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, of undermining democracy by felicitating the forceful takeover of local government secretariats by opposition elements. According to the governor, this situation raises fundamental questions about the neutrality of law enforcement agencies in Nigeria, adding that if security agencies, who should be the custodians of public order, are seen to be taking side in political conflict, it erodes public trust and sets a dangerous precedent for future elections and governance at all levels.
They want to cause chaos. That is why I'm shouting to the international community to please speak up. Look at, there's what you call fact check. You will fact check it. If we have to send you all the details of the government to my essay, Bank of Missouri, you will send it to them immediately and let them read it. Let your legal department invite the legal department of Nigeria, they will interpret it, and then you make your press conference with why not today.
The governor further warned that such actions undermines peace and stability.
As a governor, I want peace in my state. My state has been very peaceful. So I'm glad that despite of what you are hearing about the crisis, you still come over here to see what is going on. And I can assure you, Osun State has been moving forward in terms of infrastructure activation. We go in interland. We go interland, make sure that, because without the fixing of all the roads, there can be no development. We are building bridges in Ife. It has never been so good as the cradle of Yoruba land.
In his remarks, the British High Commissioner, Mr. Johnny Baxter, who led the diplomatic delegation, emphasized the importance of upholding democratic values and ensuring neutrality in governance. He cautioned that law enforcement agencies must remain impartial. It is vital that institutions operate within the framework of the law to sustain democracy and development. He further reiterated the United Kingdom's commitment to good governance and respect for the rule of law, stressing that Nigeria is a crucial partner for the United Kingdom, encouraging all stakeholders to adhere to democratic principles, foster dialogue, and maintain peace. Meanwhile, it is the belief of all that the upcoming local government elections will be a defining moment. If conducted transparently, they could restore public confidence and the democratic process. However, if marred by violence, irregularities, or further allegations of federal interference, they could deepen political tensions, not just in Osun State, but across the country. It has been Oluwatobiloba Odunuga reporting.
The People's Democratic Party in Osun State has alleged that the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, is planning to assassinate the governor of the state, Senator Ademola Adeleke. The PDP said the IGP's deliberate deployment of special forces to escort the sacked APC chairman into local government secretariat today was a coup and disobedience to the order of the state governor. Sanya Onarinde has more of the story.
Addressing journalists at the Osun State Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), the state chairman of the party, Mr. Osbc, lamented that rather than upholding law and ensuring security of lives and properties, said the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, has failed in his responsibility to ensure and sustain peaceful atmosphere in Osun State. Mr. Bisi recalled that since assuming the mantle of leadership in Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke has demonstrated exceptional tolerance for dissenting voices in ensuring peaceful coexistence among residents irrespective of political or religious affiliation, describing the takeover of local government secretariats across the state by members of the All Progressive Congress (APC) and occupying the secretariats as despicable. The chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) noted that it is disheartening that such acts of brigandage is aided and abetted by the Inspector General, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun. Mr. Bisi, who bemoaned that Mr. Egbetokun flagrantly sidelined Governor Ademola Adeleke to wreak havoc in the state, said the party remain committed to the February 22nd local government election aimed at legally put in place administrators at the grassroots.
We are all aware Osbc State has been thrown into the cloudy side of the news in recent days. No thanks to the surreptitious activities of the Inspector General of Police, to destabilize the state with orchestrated violence, obviously act in active connivance of his office and the opposition, All Progressive Congress, banking on a non-existent court order has been brandished by the defeated APC in the state.
He therefore employed the electorate across the state to come out and exercise their civic responsibilities during the exercise.
We are not unaware that the desperation of Mr. Egbetokun and the APC cohorts is ultimately to prevent the local government election from holding in Osun State on Saturday, 22nd of February 2025. We are aware that Mr. Egbetokun is ready to bend all the rules, hate, and abet killings of Osun people, especially members of the ruling PDP, as we witnessed on Monday. Like the IGP should be told in class down that he will follow.
On ground, at the press briefing were stalwarts of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) from across the state, as well as media representatives. Sanya Onoide, reporting for Osbc News.
In the meantime, Osun State House of Assembly has called on the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, to take decisive action against the alleged illegal occupants of the local government secretariats in the state. Speaker of the State Assembly, Honorable Adewale Egbedun, made the call during a press conference where he condemned the forceful takeover of secretariats by the sacked APC officials. Parliamentary reporter Oluwatosin Oladokun report.
Right Honorable Adewale Egbedun, who was flanked by his colleagues at the World Press Conference, chronically highlighted the alleged unlawful and forceful takeover of local government council by members of All Progressive Congress (APC) and strongly condemned it.
It is with a deep sense of responsibility that the Osun State House of Assembly addresses the people of our dear state and the global community regarding the recent unlawful development in our local government administration. Over the past few days, Osun State has witnessed an unprecedented escalation of political tension, threats to law and order, and a blatant disregard for the rule of law. This crisis stems from the coordinated illegal attempts to forcefully seize control of our local government councils by individuals who have no legal or constitutional right to those offices.
Right Honorable Egbedun stated that the act is a direct attack on democratic institutions, a violation of the rule of law, and threat to public peace. He said the Federal High Court had declared the local government election conducted on October 15, 2022 as unconstitutional, null and void, adding that despite the judgment, APC members have resorted to self-help and brute force to occupy government offices, which led to the loss of lives and destruction of property.
The Osun State House of Assembly strongly condemns this act of lawlessness and impunity. We want to make it abundantly clear that this state will not succumb to political banditry and unconstitutional actions. Every individual found guilty of orchestrating or participating in this lawless takeover will be brought to book and held accountable under the full weight of the law.
Egbedo, on behalf of the state parliament, therefore called on the security operatives to take immediate action to protect government institutions and ensure that those responsible for this act of illegality are prosecuted accordingly. He also demanded that the Nigerian police uphold its constitutional duty to maintain law and order without bias or compromise. Right Honorable Adewale Egbedo urged the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, to ensure decisive action is taken by immediately enfixing the alleged illegal occupants, arrest and prosecute those involved, and as well as hold accountable any police officers who facilitated or failed to prevent the illegal act.
The position of the Osun State House of Assembly: we strongly denounce any form of lawlessness, violence or forceful occupation of government institutions under any guise. We affirm that the Federal High Court's judgment remain binding and must be respected by all parties until set aside by a competent court. We call on security agencies to take immediate and decisive action to protect government institutions and ensure that those responsible for this act of illegality are prosecuted.
According to him, oncoming local government election scheduled for February 22nd, 2025 is sacrosanct, thereby call on the eligible voters in the state to come out en masse and exercise their democratic rights, just as he enjoyed the security operatives to maintain law and order before, during, and after the election. Right Honorable Adewale Egbedo also called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to intervene immediately in order to prevent further chaos, emphasizing that this level of political lawlessness should not be happening in the Southwest or Nigeria as a whole.
The Osun State House of Assembly is not unaware of the close relationship between Alhaji Gboyega Oyetola, the former governor of Osun State, and the current Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, and the Inspector General of Police. However, while personal relationship may exist, the security of Osun State must never be sacrificed on the altar of friendship at the expense of the rule of law. No individual, no matter how highly placed, should manipulate security agencies to serve political interests at the expense of peace and stability. The police must not allow themselves to become a tool for political subjugation or a shield for those violating the law. The responsibility of the Nigerian police force is to serve and protect all Nigerians, not to take sides in political disputes. The people of Osun State demand and deserve fairness, impartiality, and professionalism from the security agencies.
Oluwatosin Oladokun, Osbc News.
Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, has called for collaboration between the public and private sectors to boost the country's revenue generation. This comes as the government said it is now focusing on the non-oil sector as a way of diversifying the revenue base. The minister said this at the opening of the 5th edition of the National Treasury Workshop themed Nigeria's Revenue Challenges and the Way Forward, Exploring Non-Oil Alternatives, held in Abuja. Mr. Edun said the workshop was not just an annual event, but also a strategic platform for fostering collaborations, exchange of ideas, and expanding knowledge on growth and economic stability. He said the recent global shifts in energy policies, declining oil demand, and fluctuating crude prices have moved it abundantly clear that Nigeria cannot afford to be overly dependent on oil revenues. You are welcome to our commercial segment.
I tell you, this match 3-0. Okay. If I win you, something will come out.
Don't play with me. Fast ball. Ah. You know what? You go shot me.
Bro.
Now we got this match.
Keep the banter going with Glow Borrow Me Credit or Data. Dial star 303 hash to borrow airtime or data and pay later.
Is it ready?
Only one thing I didn't.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high-speed data. Glow Unlimited.
Come back. The Senate has summoned the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, The Director General of the Department of State Services, Mr. Adeola Ajayi, and the Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Ambassador Mohammed, to brief it behind closed door on the veracity or otherwise of allegations that the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, is a key sponsor of terrorism, including Boko Haram, in the country. The resolution of the Senate followed its consideration and approval of a motion titled Urgent Need to Investigate the Alleged Funding of Boko Haram by the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, sponsored by Senator Aline Dume during the plenary. However, no date has been set for the heads of the nation's intelligence agencies to appear before the Senate. The retired General Manager of Osbc Radio 104.5 FM, Mr. Tunde Oguntomi, has rolled out drums in thanksgiving to God for a successful journey in the state civil service. The retirement Thanksgiving was organized by the Osbc Christian community and held at the Chapel of Grace Auditorium of the media outfit. Oluchi Amuda complete the story.
Every Christian whose faith is deeply rooted in biblical injunctions believes that it is absolutely important to always give thanks to God because it helps to focus on the goodness of God and to trust in Him for the future. Thanksgiving also helps in remembering God's divine blessings, even in times of trouble, hence promoting peace of mind. It was in this regard that the OSBC Christian community organized a retirement Thanksgiving program for the retired General Manager of OSBC Radio 104.5 FM, Mr. Tunde Oguntomi, who bowed out of public service. The event held at the Chapel of Grace Auditorium within the OSBC premises brought together dignitaries from far and near who gathered to appreciate the goodness of God in the life of Mr. Tunde Oguntomi, who was accompanied by his wife, Mrs. Florence Oguntomi, and children, and whom many described as a true servant of God, a thoroughbred broadcast journalist, a community leader who loves God and humanity. The testimonies from colleagues, neighbors, families, and friends said it all.
Pastor Oguntomi is a wonderful friend, a good business partner. When you see Pastor Oguntomi in you will see me. What are we talking about? We're talking about development of our life and family. That is why we are always together. Today, indeed, I want to celebrate someone that has contributed so much to the development of journalism.
Adúpẹ́ bí Ọlọ́run fún wa lórí ọ̀fẹ́ àti mọ Jésù àti sí Jésù nítorí pé ìparí ló dára ju ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ. Nípa ìgbìmọ̀ OSBC, mo mọ̀ pé ọ̀gá wa mọ̀ pé ẹnìkan lọ ìpàdé tá a padà ṣe kò sẹ́ni tí ó dá wàdà tí gbogbo wa ẹ̀rín àríntàkìtì bóyá ká tó lọ bóyá kó kó àwa kan tí wọ́n dá sí. Bí wọ́n ṣe wá ń ṣàwà lọ́dà tó tẹ́ bá ṣe bí ti wákàtí kan pàdé wákàtí kan sálùfáà Oguntomi ò bá sọ̀rọ̀ ìgbà tó bá tají kó ṣe gbogbo àwàdà tí ó ṣe tán gbogbo ìmọ̀ràn tó bá kú wá kò sí àṣàdànù nínú rẹ̀.
Tó bá di ọ̀nà 1st January ọdún tuntun Pastor Tunde Oguntomi ó gbé mi á lo èdè Ìjẹ̀ṣà gẹ́gẹ́ bí owó làbí sí sọ. Adéoyè wà kọ́lé mọ́lé wà nímọ̀lé mọ́ wàrà mọ́tò tó pọ̀.
Mo bá sọ pé ọmọ mi dáadáa ni.
I'm here today to celebrate a father, a mentor, a role model to me, a leader as well, and of course, a benefactor and my own product.
Iṣẹ́ tí mo wà lẹ́nu ẹ̀ ọ̀nà ọlọ́run àti ọ̀rẹ́ mi ni.
Mo mọ̀ wọ́n nígbà tí mo ní ìtọ́jú, ṣùgbọ́n nínú rẹ̀ wọ́n mọ̀ wá fà mí mọ́ra.
In his sermon, Pastor Joshua Ajayegbe, who spoke on the topic, The Difference Christ Makes in the Life of Believers, stated that Jesus Christ is the living word of God and the gift of salvation to mankind. Pastor Ajegbe maintained that no one can have Christ without being saved, as he remains the way, the truth, and the life. In her remarks, the Director General and Permanent Secretary OSBC, Mrs. Jola Adegbarola, who stood in for the Special Advisor to the Governor on OSBC matters, and the Chairman Board of the Corporation, Engineer Mayowa Olosho, stated that Mr. Ogutomi's contribution to the growth of the corporation will never be forgotten, adding that his dedication to duty and professionalism should be emulated by those still in active service.
He's a very hardworking person, and the OSBC will never forget his contribution. The last management meeting we held, we missed him.
In his appreciation remarks, the celebrant, Mr. Oguntomi, expressed his belief, trust, and hope in Jesus Christ, who alone has the power to direct the affairs of men. He encouraged everyone to embrace a life of peace and selfless service to humanity.
1997, the word of God came alive to me, and I gave my life to Christ.
There were special numbers, renditions from the OSBC choir. The event also featured the presentation of gifts to the latest senior citizen. Oluchi Amuda, OSBC News.
A report just reaching us now has it that Osun State government has urged citizens and residents of the state to ignore news circulating about the declaration of a public holiday by the government. This is contained in a statement by the spokesperson to the state governor, Malam Olawale Rashid, made available to newsmen in Osogbo, the state capital. The statement added that, Governor Ademola Adeleke has not declared any public holiday, and the state civil servants should ignore the news and continue their lawful duties. You are welcome to our sports segment. The host of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON, Morocco, are considering an international friendly between the Atlas Lions and the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The Royal Moroccan Football Federation has lined up a series of friendly matches to ensure the team is in top shape ahead of the competition. The Atlas Lions are looking to add Nigeria, Senegal, and Cote d'Ivoire to their pre-tournament schedule after confirming a friendly with Republic of Benin. Morocco's last AFCON campaign ended in disappointment as they were eliminated in a round of 16 following a 2-0 defeat to South Africa the upcoming, while friendlies are seen as crucial steps in their bid for redemption in 2025. Morocco, who replaced Guinea as the host of the biennial tournament, is determined to make history by winning the trophy on home soil. And coming from the foreign scene, African leaders have approved a fund to provide concessional lending to cash-strapped governments at the 37th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of the African Union AU Summit at the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Beset by debt and billions of dollars in unfunded priorities, African heads of state said the call for concessional lending to create the facilities was made in 2022 as the COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine drove sovereign defaults and debt crisis in developing countries. According to reports, the facility known as the African Financial Stability Mechanism will be managed by the African Development Bank. The bank said in a statement that the facility will have its own credit rating and will be able to borrow from international money markets, and membership of the fund will be voluntary and open to any member state of the African Union. And that ends the major reports on OSBC TV tonight. The bulletin was edited by Olubunmi Ajiboye Agbola. I am Kayode Adebayo. Thanks for watching and good night.